What you're looking at here is fully AI generated images and videos directly inside of Claude. I didn't need to go and connect to 30 different APIs. I simply installed the Higgsfield MCP server, and now I'm able to generate any type of AI ads, creatives, images, videos, doesn't matter, directly inside of Claude. Now you can do this in any AI tool that you want, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how it works, how to set it up and install it, and some of the amazing things that you can do when you connect your AI agents to Higgsfield, which has access to some of the top models right now for AI image and video generation. So this is the landing page for the Higgsfield MCP server. Massive shout out to them for partnering with me on this video. And you'll see that if you scroll down here, it just goes over a lot of the capabilities that it has. But generally speaking, to install it is very straightforward. You can add it as a connector directly inside of Claude. You could use the CLI if you're using it with something like Claude Code, which we'll look at in a second. And then you can just add it as a skill to any type of AI agent that you're using. And if you're using Perplexity, OpenClaw, Hermes, NemoClaw, etc., you can see it gives you some more specific setup steps there. Now we're going to get into the setup and I'm going to show you the use cases, but I quickly want to go over what this actually means and why you would use the Higgsfield MCP server over some other type of source. So I actually had Claude Code whip up this quick presentation, and actually this image you see was generated using the Higgsfield MCP server. But the basic idea is that if you want to do AI video or image generation, there are a ton of different tools that you could use, right? You can use GPT image, you can use Nano Banana, you can use WAN, whatever, right? And if you want to use those, you would have to connect to each of them individually, pay for the subscription individually, and those tools can change, they can become outdated. It's a huge pain to have to manage all of these at once, especially across different platforms. Now, Higgsfield had already solved that because you can just go to Higgsfield and you can use all of these different tools. You can say they have like millions of them on the platform, but you couldn't do it from your own AI agent or do it automatically, right? Or on a schedule, or however you might do it using something like OpenClaw. So now with the MCP server, you get access to all of the same tools through one single interface that you can install in any tool that you want to use. So in our case, we'll just use Claude, but you could connect it to anything that you want. And this also gives you the agentic ability to call things like GPT Image 2 or Seedance 2.0, which you can't just natively call from your own API, at least at the time of filming this video. Now, because of this capability, you should also just be able to automate a lot of the workflow when it comes to generating AI creatives, because you now can have an AI agent do it for you. So I can tell Claude to run a multi-step workflow where it generates images, picks the best one, and then generates a video for me. I'm not stuck manually doing that on the platform like I was before. Or I can have OpenClaw every single day call out and generate 10 different images that I can pick from when I wake up, right? There's a lot of different use cases here because of the capabilities in the MCP server. Let me show you a few. Let's get it installed and set up on our machine. So you will need an account on Higgsfield in order to use this MCP server because you do need to authenticate against it, but you can get some free credit, so you don't need to pay for it if you just want to mess around with it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to start by opening up Claude because this is how I prefer to use it, but you can use it from Claude Code as well. And what I'm going to do is just go to my settings here. So I'm going to find the little settings icon, and I'm going to go over to connectors. Now from connectors, what we're going to need to do here is add a custom connector, and the custom connector that we're going to add here is going to be this MCP server. So we're just going to copy this URL, we're going to paste this here, and we're just going to call this Higgsfield like so, and then press on add. Now, when we do that, it should show up here, and we're just going to press this connect button. It's then going to bring us to the Higgsfield sign-in page where we're going to authenticate with our account. Okay, so I just pressed allow, and now it's going to bring me back into Claude. We just need to restart it, and you can see now that I am connected to Higgsfield. And if we go here, we can refresh the tools list. We can click into it. You get the idea. Perfect. So now we have access to the Higgsfield MCP server, and we can use it directly from any of the tools inside of the desktop application in Claude. So I could go new chat here, for example, and say, what tools do you have access to from the Higgsfield MCP server? Let's see, and it should give us the answer. And there you go, we can see that we get the list of tools here, then of course we can start using it. Now before I use it here, I will just show you how to set it up in Claude Code as well. So to add it inside of Claude Code, you can just install the MCP server as well, but as it suggests here, it says it's better to directly use the CLI. So if that's the case, what we can do is just open up a new terminal. We can paste in the first command, which you can find directly from here. We're just going to install the Higgsfield CLI tool. So let's go ahead and run that. So next up here is to run the Higgsfield auth login. So let's copy that command and run that and authenticate with Higgsfield. Okay, looks like we are authenticated. And then the last step here is just to add this skill. So I'm just copying again right from the website. So I'm just going to paste this in, npx skills add Higgsfield-ai/skills. Yes, let's add that, and then it should find all of the tools that we have available like Claude Code. In my case, I'm just going to select all of these to install. So I just press space on these, and then I'm going to press on enter. And then for the agents here, I'm just going to install this in Claude Code, but you could pick any of the different agents that are available here, and it will automatically install it for you. Let's press enter, and let's install this globally so that we always have it available. Let's go symlink, and then proceed with installation. Yes. All right, so now this skill is installed, and if we want to test it, we can just run Claude, and then same thing, we can ask it to use this skill. Use the Higgsfield skill, and just kind of tell me what it says. What are you capable of doing with it? Boom, and let's see what we get. And by the way, if you're wondering what I'm using to dictate here, I'm using a really cool tool called Whisper Flow. I'm an absolute power user. I have 113,000 total words. It is free to try, and it's just a lot faster to use than typing, obviously, and gives you really good, accurate AI voice dictation, which also can learn your vocabulary, all kinds of stuff like that. I have a long-term partnership with them. I'll leave a link in the description. But for now, let's hit yes and see if we can find the skills. Okay, so you can see that it tells us it's a wrapper around the Higgsfield CLI for submitting AI, image, and video jobs. And generally, we have access to it. Just wanted to make sure it was installed. Now what we can do is start actually running this and generating some AI assets. So if you're just going to be testing something or you're not like automating a full workflow, I would definitely recommend using this inside of the Claude desktop app because it gives you really nice visuals and kind of progress indicators. So what I'm going to do for now is try to get it to generate kind of some images of like a new coffee brand or something. And I want to kind of go step by step where we have like brand images, then we go to maybe like an AI video ad, maybe we refine that. But I just want to show you what's possible because we can use a lot of different models and create different types of assets. So let me paste in a prompt here and we'll go from there. All right, so effectively what I said is I'm building an ad campaign for Focus Brew, a premium AI powered coffee subscription, generate 3 product photos using GPT image 2. I want 2 variations of each, flat lie, lifestyle, and then close up pour into a ceramic mug. And just to add something else to this to make it a bit more unique, I want this to be kind of code focused. I want like green colors like you would have inside of something like a kernel or kind of a terminal. And I want it to not be too like, I don't know, original or too normal. I want it to be kind of like funky and unique. Okay, and let's press enter here and get it to generate this. All right, so we can see it popped up the Higgsfield MCP. It's exploring the different models that are available, and it's gonna just try to find the right one. So it didn't find it on the first pass here, but it should be able to find GPT image 2. Of course, we can use a lot of different models, but this is kind of the current best one that's now available through the agent. And there we go, found it, GPT image 2. When it comes back with the photos, I'll show you what we got. Now it's still generating here, but the interesting thing is that we can view the prompt that it actually used to create this, and we can see it picks the model, and then it gives us a much more detailed prompt than we probably would have written ourselves, as well as the quality, resolution, aspect ratio, all of this kind of stuff. And then it's getting the response here where we're just waiting for the images to finish being generated. Now that's the advantage when you use these tools inside of some kind of AI agent, is that it's usually going to be a lot more detailed and precise than you would be. So you almost always get a better result because your initial prompt then leads to a more complex prompt that actually gets sent to the model when it's generating these images. All right, so we've got the images here. I can't lie, they look pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty happy with those. We have some productivity based ones. We got some random like Japanese going on here, and then we have it kind of being poured into a cup as I asked for. So overall, that's pretty cool. Now I want to go with a few revisions here. So I kind of like this one. Yeah, I like this one better with the code. What I'm going to do though is just edit this and just say, can you edit this image and just make the code a little bit larger so it's easier to read and not as long. Let's do a simpler function maybe on there. And again, just keep it kind of concise, a little bit larger. Let's also add a few more stats of the coffees just so it looks a little bit more like programmery. Okay, anyways, I don't know if that makes sense, but let's run that and let's see if we get the edit here for this image. Now notice for this one, we're actually going to use Nano Banana 2, and it's just going to reference this image that we already created, and then we have the prompt as we go here. So let's see what we get. All right, and we got the edited version here, and we can see the code is definitely a lot larger as I asked for, simpler, easier to read. We have the additional stats like I asked. And yeah, overall that looks pretty good. So now what I want to do is move on to actually generate some videos here for this coffee brand. Same thing using the AI video generation. This does take a little bit of time, so you got to bear with it, but that's why when you create it in here, it will tell you when it's finished. Whereas if you use it inside of something like Claude Code, you will need to kind of constantly tell it, hey, check every 30 seconds if it's done, check every minute if it's finished, because the way that it works is that it just kind of like submits a job, and then you need to kind of pull the endpoint, if you're familiar with what that that means, to get the finished result. So inside of Claude, it works really well, but if you're using it from the terminal or CLI, just keep that in mind because these do take a few minutes to run. So the next prompt I have is just this. Now generate 3 video ads for Focus Brew, 5 seconds each using Seedance, productivity angle, ritual angle, and then skeptic angle. And let's run with it and let's see what we get. All right, so we've got the ads here. They're pretty good, but they're also a little bit funny because I didn't really give it many details, right? I just said, hey, randomly kind of generate this. So, take what we see with a grain of salt. You can obviously produce something a lot better. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, arm kind of comes out of nowhere, but I mean, generally that looks pretty cool and it's, matches the brand at least that we were going for. Let's look at this one. Nice, okay, shows the product, making a coffee, and then let's go to this one. And it's even got focus in the music back there, which is kind of funny. I actually don't even know how it did that. But anyways, you get the idea. We got 3 ads here. I'm just showing you what's possible. We, of course, can create something a lot better if I'm much more detailed in what I want. But I just wanted to quickly spin something up because, of course, you guys have your own use case and this isn't, that valuable to you. But now, the interesting thing is, right, I have these videos, I have these images, and because I have access to the MCP inside of Claude, we now could switch over to something like Claude Code, and we could ask it to generate a full landing page for us using all of the images and videos that we just created. So let's actually go with that. Let me kind of come up with a prompt here. I'll be right back. Okay, so I just attached a few of the assets that I want to use here for Focus Brew, and I just said, hey, create, a landing page for me, hero section, product gallery, etc. Let's hit enter, and let's see what we get. Okay, so here we go. I am pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. We can see we have the ad running in the background, which actually looks really good in the background. We just looked at it in that small frame. It didn't look that great, but now seeing it kind of how it's edited here, I mean, I don't know, it looks pretty good to me. You can scroll down, we can see some images of the coffee, right? Like the ones that we attached. And then it's just 3 steps. Boom, you can get early access, sign up, whatever, right? And that was just a quick landing page with the use of those assets that we generated. So that is pretty damn cool. What I'm going to do now, though, is kind of a big unlock, I think, with this MCP server, and that's I'm going to give Claude a bunch of negative reviews, which like fake negative reviews that we've received for this coffee brand. I'm going to say, hey, let's change the branding a little bit. Let's change some of the ads that we have, for example, to speak to these negative reviews so that we can overcome that. You'll see what I mean with the prompt, but anyways, let me show you. So I just wrote a prompt here, and I said, here are 5 common objections that customers have about coffee subscriptions, right? And then I said, always end up with coffee I don't like, too expensive, I forgot to cancel, whatever, okay? And then I said, turn each objection to a 5-second counter narrative video ad. Each one should open with the objection as text, then visually answer it. Use Seedance 2.0. Once these ads are created, select the best one and then put it on our landing page. Perfect, okay? So let's go ahead and hit enter here. I know it's still doing something else in the background while it's like adjusting this site, but I want to see if it can now run this. And this is the interesting thing, right, is that we can use the AI to come up with better input for the ad generation, which we're doing right now based on a bunch of data. So it could pull customer reviews daily, right, then generate new ads. And it can just run this on autocomplete because of that MCP integration. Okay, so I finished generating the ads. I'm just going to play them now so you can see what they look like. Let's go with number 1. That's pretty good. I mean, that's what we asked it to do. Let's try this one. Okay, interesting. That one's not as good, but it's so funny. Let's see this. Okay, nice. Let's see this. Okay, again, pretty good. And last one, let's see what we get. Interesting. Okay, nice. And anyways, you can see it downloaded all of those to my desktop because we're doing kind of the Claude Code version here now. And what it's doing is actually reviewing all of the ads, evaluating them, and then it's going to pick the best one to put on the landing page. Let's see what we get. And if I go back to the landing page here, you can see now it's using a new video. Now this one, because it has the text, obviously looks a little bit weird behind here, but that is what I asked it to do. So it handled that, and now we are good to go. Now look, this is pretty impressive. I really just scratched the surface of what's possible in this video, but now that I have Higgsfield connected, I can use it for pretty much anything. Even if you just want a diagram, an animation, some video for a website you're working on, any type of dev project, it's really useful to have that already built in and not need to go to another tool and be able to access those 30+ different models from one single source. So anyways, guys, with that said, that's going to wrap up this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.